Hi guys, my name is Shaun Jones. I'm a personal trainer of 14 years, also a gym owner, and I've helped over 1,000 people build strong athletic physiques. I've also built a strong athletic physique myself, naturally, despite having pretty poor genetics, and I've managed to achieve a 140 kilogram bench press, which is fairly hard to do naturally. And in this video, we're going to go through 7 science-based tips on how to blow up your bench press and get a bigger chest. So these tips helped me go from someone who struggled to hit a 100 kilogram bench press for years to someone who could now rep out 100 kilograms for 10 reps, or 112 kilograms for 8 reps, or 140 kilograms for the single rep. So if you want a bigger chest, make sure to like this video and subscribe for educational weekly fitness content like this. And make sure to stay to the end where I've got a free bench press program for you. First, let's start with some basic principles. Number 1, warming up. We've all been guilty of walking in the gym, straight over to the bench press, loading up a plate each side and going straight into the first set. This is a surefire way to get yourself injured eventually, and then you're most certainly not going to get a bigger chest. You're probably guilty of, at most, doing a few arm swings here and there, and then pretty much straight into your first set. A few arm swings aren't going to prepare you for the intensity that you should be lifting at to actually stimulate muscle growth. However, warm-ups don't need to be these big, overcomplicated routines that we often see online. I believe for 99% of the population, simplicity is key. So here is what I do with myself and my clients. First, I do a basic dynamic warm-up. This gets the joints loose, gets the muscles stretched out, but it's important to note, stretches done in a static fashion can actually limit your strength output. The dynamic stretches that I perform are a basic arm swing going forwards and backwards, which loosens out my shoulders and back. And then I also like to do some backwards arm circles. Once again, I find these good to just get out all of the clicks and dust off the rust. Finally, I'll perform a set of torso rotations. You get out all of the cracks and the pops in your spine and your rib cage, and overall just feels really good. Then we move on to some rotator cuff work. Now these are important because although the dynamic stretch gets the blood flowing and warming up with the bench press itself will cover you for the most part, you still need to make sure that you're strengthening those rotator cuff muscles, which can often be neglected on the big movements like the bench press. So these muscles are the smaller internal muscles responsible for a lot of the shoulder stability and are typically what get injured from doing too much pressing movements. Now we'll do a whole video on rotator cuff training, so make sure to subscribe for that, but for the time being, keeping it simple, I personally like to focus on 2 rotator cuff warm-ups. The first being external rotation, just ensure that you have a 90-degree flex in your elbow, and then the second is internal rotation, and for the most part these will target all 4 rotator cuff muscles. Once your warm-up is finished, it's time to bench press. Next, we're going to take a look at something that's often overlooked, and that is the bar height. I still see so many people get this wrong. Time and time again, I see many lads with the barbell set up too high to the point where they have to compromise their shoulder position just to unrack or re-rack the weight. Your shoulders should be retracted and squeezed together when you bench press. Therefore, this automatically takes off a few inches off your arm length. You might be able to reach the bar when your shoulder blades aren't squeezed together, but when you do squeeze them and reduce the reach of your arms, now you might not be able to reach the bar or re-rack the weight safely. I also see the opposite, where people have the bar too low, which means if you're by yourself, which most lifters are in the gym, you will now have to not only press the weight up off the rack, but also bring the bar forward over your chest. And this is extremely difficult to do when you're lifting heavier. So make sure the barbell is no higher than just below the base of your wrist when you have your arms fully extended out. This will ensure that you will be able to unrack and re-rack the weight safely without worrying about missing the rack or, worst case scenario, getting crushed by the bar. No one wants that. Next, we're going to discuss grip width. This is also highly debated, and the reason being for this is because it is completely dependent on what you personally find comfortable. Typically, a wider grip position will be better for strength due to you reducing the range of motion, whereas a closer grip might be better for growth due to the increased range of motion, but worse for strength due to that increase. So my personal preference is to go somewhere in between close and wide grip, and the way I measure this is I typically go thumb length away from where the nailing grip on the bar begins. This is the rough part of the bar, basically where the smooth middle section of the bar ends and the rough grip area begins. So this allows me to be in a strong position without limiting the range of motion too much. Next, let's talk about the lower back arch. Now, the common thing I hear people say about having an arch in your lower back is that it's bad for your back. it's not a natural position to be in, when in fact it's the opposite. The lower back arch is completely fine for your spine, but it also helps protect your shoulders. However, it is vastly misunderstood. I can see the argument as to having an arch in your lower back would be bad. If you give it a try, you will feel your lower back super tight and contracted, and it might even feel pumped up. Although this isn't a bad thing. There's a difference between bad, sharp shooting pain and just, well, a lower back pump. At the end of the day, your spine is made to flex and extend, so there's no reason why having an arch in your lower back is going to be bad for you, especially seeing as we're not actually loading the spine directly like we do on a deadlift or a squat. On the bench press, the upper back and the shoulders take the majority of the weight. So the main benefit of arching your lower back is that it helps your upper back get into a tighter position, which in turn puts your shoulders in a stronger position to press from. So basically, during a bench press, you should have your shoulder blades retracted and squeezed together. Now, trying to do this with no lower back arch is fairly difficult. So slightly arching your lower back will help you pinch those shoulder blades together better, and doing so will also mean that your shoulders are less likely to take over the lift and instead have your pecs take the majority of the tension. So arch that lower back and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Next is breathing. Breathing is so important in order to be able to handle maximal loads, and lifting heavier will usually result in more mechanical tension, and mechanical tension is the prime driver of building muscle hypertrophy. So in order to lift heavier, we want to make use of a very special technique called intra-abdominal pressure, or IAP for short. So IAP is the pressure buildup we can create within our body through proper bracing and breathing. This helps to protect the spine, but also helps our entire body stay tight and rigid, so we can therefore handle heavier weights. Put it this way, when you're lifting heavier weights, you don't want to be lying on the bench like a floppy fish. Your body needs to be tight, rigid, and solid, and breathing helps with this. So one of the ways we can achieve this intra-abdominal pressure is to manipulate our breathing cadence whilst lifting. And the best way to do this is like so. Take a big deep breath in at the top of the rep before you initiate the descent, and with the bar in the top position, hold your breath and tighten your core. Lower the bar down to your chest whilst holding your breath. Do not breathe out as you lower, you'll lose all of your tightness. And then as you press, do not breathe out until you're at the top of the rep, or at the very least past the midway point. Next, we're going to discuss the bar path. Also, just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying the video so far, leave a like on the video and consider subscribing. Now, if you're not doing this already, be prepared to blow up your bench press over the next 6 months. I see 98% of people on bench press pressing the bar in a straight line out in front of them, which kind of makes sense. They say that the quickest way to the finish is a straight line, but that logic doesn't really apply here. Now, this is true for squats and deadlifts. The bar typically follows a straight vertical path. However, this is not true for bench press. Pressing in a straight line will actually hurt your progress. I know you've seen your favourite bodybuilders bench exactly like this, but let's be honest, bodybuilders can do a lot of things wrong technique-wise. The reason they look like that is because of genetics and steroids, so they can afford a little wiggle room in their technique, whereas I'm assuming that you are natural with average genetics. So here's the deal. If you want to get stronger on your bench press, you must press back and up, not just straight up. As you lower the bar down to your chest, the bar should sit right across your nipple line when it touches your chest, and once you have pressed the bar back up, the bar should be now over your shoulders or your face. So if you only press the weight straight up, your shoulders have to work a lot harder to move the weight, and therefore you limit the amount of overload you can achieve. You're not stimulating your pecs effectively. Now, I recommend that you film your bench press from a side angle just to get an idea about your bar path. And if you want some personal technique critique by me, then consider joining my Apex Athlete app down below in the description, where I'll give you direct feedback on your lifting videos on how to improve your technique. You will also get access to 150 in-depth, detailed exercise demonstrations on how to perform each lift optimally directly within the app. Now, a bonus tip to help you bench more is to, well, bench more. Most people are only hitting chest once per week, and usually the workouts are filled with 7 different chest exercises, which is unnecessary. You would benefit a lot more from spreading that chest volume out over the course of the week over 2 to 3 chest sessions. It's just like learning any new skill. The more that you practice it, the better and more efficient you become at it. Your body will make faster adaptations if you do it more frequently, but only if you are doing the technique properly. So here's an example bench press protocol which you can integrate into your current training program to help you build more muscle and get stronger. On Monday, we perform a paused bench press, which is typically around a 1-second pause, 3 to 5 reps for 3 sets, and this is typically a bit more strength focused. On Wednesday, we're going to do a speed or banded bench press. Now, a banded bench press is where you take a resistance band, you'd attach it to either side of the bar, loop it underneath the bench press, or you can tie it to some weights on the floor. So at the bottom, there is less resistance than at the top, there is more resistance. This teaches you to press with more speed. And for this, we would do 3 reps, 5 sets. And this is a little bit more performance focused. So for my combat sport athlete subscribers out there, the speed or banded bench press is perfect for you. And then on Friday, we do a touch and go bench press. This is where we just take the bar, we touch down, and we're straight back up. No pause, no crazy power. It's just a nice smooth motion up and down. And we aim for 7 to 10 reps, 2 to 3 sets. Now this is going to be a little bit more muscle building focused or hypertrophy focused. So if you're looking to put all of this together, then I recommend that you check out my Apex Athlete app. It's loaded with over 150 exercise demonstrations, 100 educational videos like these on training and nutrition. It builds out a completely customized training program based on your goals and preferences, which you can track and log all of your lifts directly within the app. And we also have a private Discord community where you can ask me anything you want, or send me your technique videos and I will give you live critique on them. And to celebrate the release of my first fitness video on this channel, I'm going to give you 20% lifetime discount on all app memberships when you use code APEX20 at the checkout. So if you want to take your bench press and training in general to the next level, get faster results and develop a strong, athletic, natural physique, then my app will help you do exactly that. It's 14 years of coaching experience and knowledge all in one place. So that's it, guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for weekly educational content like this. See you on the next one.